And number one. Listen, I do worry. I don't think they're very good at tackle. They were not very good on third down against the Bengals. They got to clean that up. Where they go get somebody at the trade deadline. It is hard to win a Super Bowl, even with Mahomes, if you don't love the offensive line, and I don't. But I think their coaching, their structure, their defense, Chris Jones. Now, Travis Kelce, I don't worry too much about because he was invisible for spots last year. Then, like Gronk, arrived when it mattered. I don't worry about that. I also think they've, even though Hollywood Brown's not going to be back for a while, I think their weapons feel significant upgrades to me. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Because this is the way how I'm viewing the Kansas City Chiefs right now. This is how I'm viewing the NFL as a whole right now. To me, there is no team that is just by and far head and shoulders better than everyone else, right? That's what it gets boiled down to me. There is no team that is a juggernaut. There is no team that is just dominant and unstoppable. It seems like every team out there, for the most part, and it's hard to gauge a couple of these teams, like the Saints, for instance. I know they're blowing out teams, but like it's hard to imagine that will 100% continue. But it feels like that every team can be beaten. And I said this now in many videos that this is like this year of all years feels like it's just like any given Sunday, right? It's just like what's going to happen, how's the ball going to bounce. Is a running back going to be able to rip off a 55-yard run, just a game breaker, blown coverage, missed tackle, whatever it may be? Who's got home field? What's the field look like? Is it slippery? Is it not? Is it windy? Is it rainy? Like it's fascinating this season. And this is what I thought was going to be like last year, but for different reasons, quite frankly. It's because I thought there was going to be so many amazing, great teams. And it's not that there's not amazing, great teams, but it just seems like, at least right now, all these teams aren't necessarily playing their best football. There's issues with every team that you can really kind of point to that you could be like, this could cause trouble. Like what will this look like? Now with the Chiefs, though, this is why it's hard to not put the Chiefs number one. Because when you're talking about this, when you're talking about any given Sunday, what's going to happen, right? Final 2 minutes, tie game, down by 3, whatever it is. At the end of the day, there is there's no one that you could possibly trust more than the combination of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Spags. Once upon a time for the Chiefs, you could have said Travis Kelce, you could have said Tyreek Hill, right? You could have said that, but not right now. I don't think Travis Kelce is 100% dependable. He's older, just is what it is. Just is what it is. But the fact that you can 100% trust your coach is not going to be outcoached or make a boneheaded mistake or just have a terrible play call or whatever is a massive advantage. The fact that you have the best defensive coordinator in the game, and so he is going to bring an awesome defensive game plan to any game and any moment, whether it's the final 2 minutes or whether it's the first minute of the game, he is going to bring it, right? And then, of course, you got none other than the Patrick Mahomes, who's going to be able to execute it. And although he hasn't looked great this season so far, he's had a lot of turnovers, and, technically Pro Football Focus has him ranked at, I think he's like the 8th best quarterback right now, but we still know he is the Patrick Mahomes, which he always proves in the playoffs, especially, that he is just going to be the most dependable quarterback you have. So when you have that combination, when you have that trio, that if it's any given Sunday, that's usually going to be the difference. It's not going to be the extra weapon. It's not going to be, well, this team has an extra better running back. Like, if it's truly any given Sunday, like I'm saying, and these games are going to get ugly and muddled and be 1-point games and it come down to the final possession, like we saw with the Bengals versus the Chiefs, the Eagles versus the Falcons, even the Texans versus the Bears, right? Like, it's all of these games are consistently coming down to the final possession. When it's that tight and the margin of error is that close, you're going to lean for the Chiefs, right? I mean, Andy Reid just does not make mistakes. Patrick Mahomes makes mistakes like every quarterback, but really, really minimizes them. Not to mention he can overcome them with some box office next level through the roof plays. And Spags, the fact that nobody wants to hire him as a head coach is probably a bigger blessing than anything else the Chiefs have, quite frankly, because he probably should be gone, but he probably doesn't even want a head coaching job at this point. He's probably just happy where he's at with Andy Reid, with Mahomes, keep winning those rings. Life is good. Too hard to be a head coach, just be the defensive coordinator. It's just you're just never going to play the Chiefs, even if you have all the firepower. Even if you have a stacked roster, stacked team, you've been running all day, throwing all night, your defense is great. You're never just gonna be like, Chiefs can't stop us. No way. We're gonna steamroll the Chiefs. You're just never gonna have that level of confidence. Just never. And if you do, you're delusional, right? So at the end of the day, when it is that close, you got to go with who do you trust more will show up, not only on the day, but in the moment when it matters most, and that will be none other than the Kansas City Chiefs, mainly because of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Spags. But yeah, that's really the way I see it. I went through all of these, and I went through the top 10, and I kind of gave my own numbers and stuff like that. But really, at the end of the day, I just don't like to rank teams 1 through 10, 1 through 20. I really don't. I put teams in groups and tiers. And I just think there's a lot of good teams right now. We just got to wait for the following weeks to see how good these teams end up shaping up to be. Right? How do they look? Right now, the Chiefs are in a weird position. Brown is gone, I think, for the whole season. Pacheco is now going to be missing, I think, a big chunk of games, and he matters. He's been in the run game, right? And he's a rocket ship a lot of times, right? He's a firecracker. He brings a ton of energy. So and Travis Kelce, yeah, he hasn't looked great. He's kind of looked his age, which is to be expected. He's an older player, right? He's got a lot on his plate. It's not to say that he's done. It's not to say that he's a bum. It's not to say that he can't help and contribute. It's not to say that he's not trustworthy or dependable. But his type of production is going to change. That's just what happens as you get older, right? You can't deny it. It's what happens with every single player. So that's just what's happening with Travis Kelce. So it's going to be interesting to see what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will be able to do to him, because he's obviously still going to be a key factor, a key role, and will still most likely come up in big, important, key moments. So you can depend on him to be there when you need him and to not make mistakes. But when I talked about trust and leaving Travis Kelce out of that, it's more because I don't know if you can consistently trust him game after game after game. Like Colin kind of pointed out that he has, over recent years, over the last couple of years or whatever, or seasons, he's kind of disappeared for periods of time, and not in ways that he did in years past. So like I said, normally you would add Travis Kelce to that mix, and then that nucleus is really on fire. But the fact that Travis Kelce is a little bit older makes them slightly more vulnerable. But at the end of the day, any nucleus that you're going to be able to pick, if you have to pick between any of these various nucleuses, of course it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Spags at the tippy top. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Kansas City Chiefs being the #1 team in the NFL? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.